later, but
Hello, kiddies. Welcome to Tales from the Crypt.
Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to another live stream of Dads from the Crypt. Today, we're going to be doing a couple episodes from season 2. Just came out on Shudder, and I want to make sure I can see everyone's comments. Let me get to the right place. There we go. If there are people watching, give us a shout out in the comment section. We'd love to hear where you're from. Just to know where people are watching from. Hopefully everyone's settling in with some pizza, some beer, or whatever you might want to partake of tonight, and we're gonna have a good time. We have some wonderful guests for you. First off, just because it's to my right, we have Matt, the story time guy.
hello, Jason. Thank you. I believe this is I've been on here a few times. I think this is my
I know
third
you've
or
been
fourth
at
time.
least. You're on our year ender, and you're on our Nothing But Trouble episode.
Sounds fair.
For those that know, that is my most hated movie of all time. Hate that movie with a passion of many burning suns. You're on a couple others. I can't remember which ones. So those are the two.
But it's good to be here. I love Tales from the Crypt. It's a magical series that I watched when I was way too young. That Santa Claus episode, to this day, I watched it when I was like 8 or 9 years old by myself, and to this day it messes me up. I still see that guy and I'm like, scariest movie show horror icon I've ever seen in my entire life. So love it. Excited to do this with you guys with an amazing it's cool to be here. I'm surrounded by amazing people. Happy to be here.
Yeah, why don't you give us your 2-sentence elevator pitch about what you do?
So I am a content creator and educator. In my spare time, I'm a substitute teacher. In my full-time job, I'm a content creator. I talk about Latin American history, Aztec mythology, horror, folk tales, fairy tales. If you want to go down that deep dive of all of that stuff, I'm the guy that's going to take you there.
Cool. All right, and Kristen, hello.
Hello.
Hi, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm an entertainment journalist and film critic, and currently the author of the upcoming book, Welcome, Boils and Ghouls, The Complete Oral History of Tales from the Crypt, that I'm hoping that is a title that does not change. My publisher and I are talking about it right now.
All right. Well, glad to have you here. And of course, last but definitely not least, Mr. Rob Draper.
Howdy.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
So, as you can see, I'm Rob Draper. I'm a director of photography, and I actually shot the 2 episodes that we're going to be looking at tonight. And I've been doing this for just on 53 years. So
Just a smidge.
you could say I've got a little bit of experience as a cinematographer. So really happy to be on here. And as I said earlier on, it's amazing that people are still intrigued by Tales from the Crypt, which makes me feel really happy.
Yeah, I mean, this is relatively early on in your career, but you did cinematography for Halloween 5, Tales from the Dark Side. So you have a story career in many horror. You did Tales from the Dark Side, 16 episodes I see of the TV series, and 24 episodes of Creep Show.
Yeah, I did all the episodes of Creep Show except one. My operator did ended up doing one of the episodes because we were doubling up at one point. But Creep Show was fantastic. Actually, it was with Greg Nicotero, who did The Walking Dead, and everyone knows Greg. But the first time I worked with Greg was on Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, and that was his first job as K&B Effects, and with John Harrison directing, and part of the Pittsburgh Mafia, of course. And actually, I was just talking to John this afternoon, telling him I was on here, so he might even be watching. So,
oh, great.
Well,
Yeah,
and you did. Oh, go on, Jason.
No, go ahead, Kristen.
I was going to say, I mean, you did Tales from the Dark Side, which was Bill Tytler, who was the producer on the first 2 seasons of Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, well, can I tell you a story about Bill Tytler?
Yes,
let's save it for one moment, just so we can get the show going. But this is why you're here. They tell us all the the stories and everything. For everyone watching, we're going to be watching Lower Berth, which is episode 14. And then we're also going to be watching Television Terror, which I believe is on the next episode or the episode after that. I don't have them all.
It's 16, I think. Mute Witness to Murder, I think, is in between there.
Depending on how long things go, but usually these things tend to go longer. We might have time to do Mute Witness. We'll see. But the Television Terror and Lower Berth are definitely ones that
all brilliant episodes and beautifully shot. I might add.
Yeah. Best cinematography of the entire series, I think.
Well, actually, here's the story. Lower Berth was the first episode of Tales from the Crypt to win an award. Won the Cable Ace Award for Best Cinematography.
Really? That's awesome. Congratulations. Okay.
So that's it. Well, it's good talking to you guys.
All right. So everyone gets queued up for your episode. I'm going to play a quick video, quick countdown video to let us know when to start. It'll be pretty obvious. All right. And here we go.
For anybody who's watching for the first time, we're so glad to pop your scary.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Watching fucking Tales from the Crypt.
All right, everyone, plus start.
Hold on 1 second, guys. Mine decided to freak out. Oh, come on, don't do this to me. I'm doing this through TV, and this was not smart.
Are we starting from the opener or?
Yeah, from the opener.
Okay.
All right, you want us to pause for a minute, Kristen?
Yeah, because Shudder is not my friend right now.
Okay.
Hold on.
Pause again. I had the whole dramatic opening.
I'm sorry.
This is why I said
I had this all set up ahead of time too, and of course.
I love that opening though. That was so funny.
Yeah. So while she's doing that, Rob, why don't you tell us about William Tytler?
Oh well, the story with Bill Tytler was I met Bill in New York, and actually the first narrative work that I ever did was Tales from the Dark Side, the series, and I'd been living in New York for a while. I'd moved over here in 1980, and up until then I'd been shooting documentaries and commercials, all over the world, and through a whole series of strange coincidences, I got an interview with Bill, and they called me in. And they said, "Look, we'll put you on to shoot it, and but you're on trial. And if the first episode dailies look good, we'll put you on for the season. If not, you're out." And after the first day, they said, "Okay, you're on." And
that sounds like Bill.
Yeah, but that was where I met Bill. And then years later, I was watching TV and I saw Tales from the Crypt, and I saw all the names, Dick Donner, Bob Zemeckis, David Giler, Walter Hill, and Joel Silver, and then Bill Teitler came up, and I thought, I've got to call Bill Teitler. So I called him up, and he was, because they were shooting in California, I was living in New York, and I literally called Bill every week for 9 months until they gave me a shot, and they called me up and they said, look, we need to shoot the wraparounds, a new set of wraparounds, because Dick Donner wasn't happy. He thought the wraparounds looked too much like Creepshow, too much primary color and blues and yellows and greens and all that sort of stuff. And he wanted to look more cinematic. And I said, yeah, I can do that. So they flew me out, and I shot the wraparounds. And of course, I was working with Kevin Yeager because he was, puppeteer on the, he'd built the Crypt Keeper, and Kevin directed all the wraparounds, and he had this script, and he said, look, I got this script that I'm going to be directing. It's called Lower Berth. Would you like to read it? And it was like, where is it? I'll read it right now. So I read it, and of course, once I read it, it was like, I've got to shoot this bloody thing, because it was so fantastic. It was so, I mean, it was a cinematographer's dream. And
Rob, let's pause for 1 second. Let's all start it over again.
Oh,
okay. We're all ready. Okay, 1, 2, 3 from the very beginning. Home Box Office presents. Okay, Rob, continue. Sorry.
Okay, I've got to start. I'm a little bit into it, so I've got to. I'm just on the Crypt Keeper.
Okay,
do we skip the intro or no? I'm kidding.
We're just going into the house right now. The intro.
Hello, kiddies.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how it came about, and basically, I went to Dick Donner and I said to him, look, I want to shoot this Lower Berth episode. And he said, look, if Kevin is happy with you shooting it, you can shoot it. And Kevin and I got on great. We had a ball together, and we shot, I don't know how many wraparounds we did, 30 or 40 of them. And so we ended up doing Lower Berth, and that was how I ended up on Tales from the Crypt.
And then did you get
an award-winning episode too?
Yeah,
award-winning episode. Yeah, it won the first award for cinematography for Tales from the Crypt.
And we're on
not the first award for the show, though. I should mention it had won, I think, for writing, and it had been nominated for, best show. Yeah. Yeah,
no, it was the first award for cinematography. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think that was the funnest part about learning about the series, was the Ace Eddies, which were like the lower rent version of cable Emmys, because the Emmys had shut out cable. So
and they changed the name from the Ace Awards, because I think that was the same as the American
the Ace Eddies,
the editors. Yeah.
All right. Now, if those watching the Crypt Keeper is just looking at the book, and it's just saying Lower Berth right now.
Oh, okay. That's we're in sync.
I think I'm a few seconds behind, but I'll be okay.
Yeah, we don't have to be like the exact same moment, but
if I don't know these episodes well enough by now, then
right. But it is kind of jarring. Since a week ago, watching the first 3 episodes from season 1, just seeing how much more articulate the Crypt Keeper is as a puppet in season 2.
I think Kevin has told me that he wasn't sure if it was between seasons 1 and 2 or seasons 2 and 3 that he did a full rebuild of the Crypt Keeper at that time, and had made him more articulate. You can usually tell the newer version of the Crypt Keeper based on how much skin he has covering his teeth, which is why if Crypt Keepers show up and they have exposed teeth, that's usually an older model.
Yeah, all the wraparounds that I shot were with the new Crypt Keeper.
I have a question for you, Rob. in terms of these episodes. So do you guys get to film the Crypt Keeper for your episode, or do they film, there's a cinematographer for that, and then you guys do your episode?
No, when they called me in, I flew in from New York, and basically all I was flying in for was to shoot the wraparounds.
Okay.
And basically the wraparounds was sort of like a test, that was like Dick Donner wanted something very specific, and after the first day of dailies, all 5 of the executive producers watched it, and they said, "Yep, that's what we want. Okay, you're on." And but we shot the wraparounds. I can't remember how many at a time, 10 or 15 at a time. We shot a ton of them. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I was wondering that. I mean, I figured, I was like, yeah, oh my God, that's hideous.
Yeah. No, I know we shot, when we did them, we shot for a week just shooting wraparounds. And for
did you only do episodes. Did you do any after season 2?
I think I did season. I can't remember. I think I did.
I know at some point, like Gil Adler took over directing those.
Yeah, well,
when Gil took over right about season, I think 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when Gil Adler took over, I left.
A lot of people left after Gil Adler took over. So.
Yeah.
I wish Kevin was here. He has a great story about how he got the job directing this, and I have it. I don't know if it's staying in the book right now, so I don't want to prematurely throw it out there. But I wish he was here.
I'm sure we'll have Gil on soon enough.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
How Kevin got the job directing Lower Berth. Yeah, and I tell you what, he did a fantastic job. I tell you, the guy who deserved an award for it was his brother Jeff.
Jeff, yeah.
Because
I love Jeff. Jeff is awesome.
Holy mackerel! I mean, that guy would come in about 2:00 in the morning, and he'd be in makeup until, I mean, he'd come in at 2:00. We would come in at, I think, 7:00, and we'd be shooting until 1:00 in the afternoon. We'd break for lunch and come back, and then Jeff would come on set, and all that time he was in makeup, and the only thing he could drink was liquids.
Oof.
Jeff says he got really good at learning how to sleep on the floor in a ball. He would just sleep places, and people would just step over him. Jeff almost didn't do it too. He almost didn't do the show. I don't know, Rob, if you knew that story, but yeah, as far as I know, Jeff. They wanted Jeff to do it, but he was supposed to do a pilot. And it's going to stick in my head along with Johnny Bago. He was supposed to do a pilot called Shangri-La Plaza. Sounds like the coolest thing ever. And he thought he was going to have to do that. And I think he said he filmed that during the day, and then he filmed this at night, or he got the ability to do both. And so one day he was playing Enoch, and then the next he was in this soapy melodrama.
Yeah, well, I know when we were shooting it, there was no way he was doing anything else during the day, because he was just full time in that makeup, and how he did it, I don't know, because that set was so hot, because we had smoke, and we had dust, and when we had Fuller's Earth everywhere, and it was all canvas, and I lit everything through the canvas, and we had tons of light, especially for the daylight scenes. And I mean, it was so hot and humid and dusty in there that most of us were wearing masks because of all the dirt coming up from the that we had laid on the ground to make it look realistic.
I'm noticing all the smoke going through the lighting right now.
That's a staple of the Tales from. It's smoke everywhere. I can't imagine how much fog they went through filming this show.
Oh, how much of it was just random steam?
Well, I tell you, we not only smoke, but all the dirt, because we laid. I think we laid about 1 foot of dirt through the entire studio so that it looked realistic, and and the amount of dust that was kicked up by all the extras was phenomenal. But the second day we came in, I had I can't remember how many, but I had a lot of 12,000 watt lights for the daytime scenes to create sunlight. And when we fired them up on the second day, the first one we fired up exploded. And I mean, literally exploded. And 12,000 watt light is about 3 foot diameter, and it's about 4 foot deep. And it's got a glass on the front that's about two inches thick. And that lens just shattered into a million pieces. The whole thing was just blown apart. And what had happened is overnight, all the dust had settled on the bulb. And when we fired the bulb up, because it's 12,000 watts, it vibrates as the spark, as the electricity starts to go through it, was vibrating, and that blew the bulb. And I mean, it sounded like a bomb going off. And that was pre all the scares for bombs going off, but it still scared the bloody living daylights out of everyone.
Did you guys halt set, or you just decided, we're just going to do without the light?
Whatever, we'll get another light. Can someone order another one?
There's a movie I make a 2-second cameo in called The Red Mask. And I was talking to the director about one of the scenes, because it's really gritty lit, but in a really nice way. And he's like, oh yeah, originally we had a giant 20-foot canvas light that was above we shot at night. It was a giant canvas light on a crane, and it broke the day of the shooting. Literally an hour before they started shooting, the thing broke and would not work. So they're like, we just use they use the car lights, the headlights of the car to help light the scene. And they're like, that's what and it looks great. Honestly, it was probably better that way, but man, lighting is terrifying. Speaking of, Jesus, that is terrifying.
Myrna
and the
slave girl.
Yeah, I mean, back when we did this, I mean, this is obviously all on film, and of course, there was no video assist and no high definition monitors to assess everything off. You had to understand photography, actually.
Yeah.
And that lantern was powered by, obviously a cable going down his arm and onto a big battery pack that someone was carrying around behind him. And the poor guy, I mean, he was, by the time we got to the end of that scene, doing all the angles on him and all the angles, all the reverses, his arm was just about paralyzed.
Does that thing give off a lot of heat too? I mean, do you think it was burning?
Sure.
Oh yeah, it's hot. It's a tungsten bulb,
right? Yeah, Jesus, his left side of his face is going to turn red by the end of the shoot.
But I tell you, it's a lot dimmer than it actually looks, because I shot a lot of this show at T1.3, and so all these scenes, like these nighttime scenes with practical lanterns and with him striking the match and all that sort of stuff, that's all shot at 1.3, so that I didn't need to have a lot of light. It looks like a lot of light on here, but that's just the exposure.
I love it too, because I'm a big film noir guy, so the hard lighting of everything, especially in this episode, is just it's so nice. The fog, the fog, it's so good. I love the really harsh shadows and everything too. I feel like people don't appreciate how much lighting goes into cinematography, because it's just like that scene right there. Just the crowd, brief moment, man. The light behind everything, it just makes them look so cool when everything is just, the light is just so harsh, and I love it.
Well, I tell you an interesting story. When I was doing Tales from the Crypt, John Harrison was coming to he was in LA and I was in New York, shooting in New York, Tales from the Dark Side. And he called me up, and the first words out of his mouth were, "Do you like film noir?" And
Yep.
from that point on, we became the best of friends, because I love film noir and I love hard light. I don't like soft light.
I am right there with you. I love the film noir, but also, for stories and stuff, like they literally have so much film noir on YouTube. It blows your mind. I went through like 6 months where I'd watch like a film noir movie every single day, and just the harsh lights of it all, it's beautiful. So when I see movies and shows do that really harsh light, because I've tried, it's not easy to film that kind of stuff. It's like,
oh no, well, I tell you who it's hard on is the actors, because the actors have to be really technically very savvy, and they have to be able to understand how the light's playing on them, and they've got to hit their marks 100% accurately. Because
I was gonna say, you got to hit that mark or the whole scene, and literally make sure the makeup is right, man. You're getting people different skin tones too. I don't think people realize that like a skin tone plays a huge, effect on how you're gonna light the scene. So to me, it's like seeing this kind of stuff, and there's a fog again. Seeing this kind of stuff is like, it's so beautiful the way you capture the shots too, man.
I'm going to interject for a quick minute. So someone in the comments is commenting on how top-notch Enoch's makeup is. So if you look at it, the bigger face is obviously Jeff Yeager's face, but the other kind of side piece is an animatronic that's kind of, moving up and down a little bit. Now, if you look right there, that's the animatronic that was glued to his face. So I got that from an auction about a year or so ago.
Jeff told me that there were so many servos in the animatronic that all he could hear was just clicking when it would start moving, which made his acting easy because he couldn't hear, so he would just kind of
nod your head. Okay.
Yeah, the amount of noise that came out of that thing was unbelievable.
No, Rob, I've always wondered what is the Myrna made out of?
I don't know. I think just
it's
latex.
An it's a puppet.
It was just latex.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, did they do a live cast of someone's face and just?
I don't believe so. I think that was all Kevin. I think that's something he designed. I know that he still has Myrna, so he has
really?
Yeah, he does. He has it. He has Myrna, and I think the Coco puppet from the Donald O'Connor episode. So.
All right. Kev, if you're watching, I think we need to reunite Enoch and Myrna for eternity. So let me know how I can take her off your hands.
Good luck with that.
I mean, they belong together. Come on. I love the child actors too. They always got really good child actors in this show.
Which is not an easy thing. I just want to say that as someone who was a child actor, it was not.
There's a real reason they only did one episode with a child actor the entirety of the series. And before somebody in the comments says Undertaking Power, they were teenagers. It was different. They only did
like All Through the House and then The Secret.
Yeah, they didn't do a lot of child actors because they didn't have the time, because kids could only be on set at certain times. So I know Mike Simran talks a lot about how it was kind of like, we need to get this done before child labor laws say you have to leave the set.
Damn child labor laws.
Child labor law. And this was in the 90s, and they were actually adhering to child labor laws. What do you know?
And that's Drake from Aliens.
Who? Where?
Mark Ranson, maybe not. Oh, him. Was it that same guy or the guy who sold him Myrna?
Oh,
yeah, the guy who sold him Myrna.
I do have a question for Rob, because I know that Kevin talks about how you guys were talking about lighting, and he talked a lot, especially, and Jeff brings it up too, that like Kevin was very involved in like set composition, like where the shafts of light were going to come and how Enoch was going to be lit. And Jeff was like, he was very much like on my ass about like where you have to be standing for the light to hit in a certain way. Is that something you recall during your time doing this episode?
Oh yeah. Well, anytime you're doing prosthetics, I work really closely with the guys who have built the models, because they know where all the faults are.
Right.
And and you've got to work really closely with them because there are some angles that just don't work. And
It's kind of like a magic trick. If you look at it from the wrong,
Yeah.
from a certain angle, you can see how it's pulled off. So you have to be
yeah,
really careful.
and you know, and I've doing all of Creepshow with Greg. Quite often, one of the reasons I ended up doing Creepshow is because Greg knows that I understand how you've got to light a lot of these creatures that they build, because there are areas where all the seams are, and you can't photograph the seams, and you've got to, and in actual fact, the less light you have on them, the better.
Yeah.
The problem with Enoch was there were a lot of times where Enoch had to be in daylight and he had to be bright. And so on those occasions, it was, we had to block and stage it very, very carefully. And that's where Kevin was really actively involved in saying that, we can't see this and we can't see that, and we can't be up here and we can't be down there. And we work pretty closely on all of that stuff, and that's normal. I mean, on any time you've got any sort of monsters or any prosthetics, you always work really closely with the.
that was going to be my next question for you. I was going to say how, because I mean, Creepshow, literally, that's the whole point of the episodes is to introduce new monsters every single episode, and they have phenomenal monsters every single episode. I think criminally underrated, the new Creepshow, when it comes to how cool their monsters are. So as a camera, do you go in there? And how soon, do you get to be like, oh, so this is going to be the color of it?
Quite often, Greg would send me, or K&B would send me pictures of the monsters, and they would shoot tests on their iPhones and stuff like that, so that I could see them operating. But sometimes I wouldn't see the actual color until they came on set, and but I always sort of knew where the colors were going to fall. I didn't know what the exact color would be, but I always knew where the colors were going to fall, and it wasn't hard to adapt to whatever came up. And I don't think there were any situations where we had a problem with it. And and the solution is, if you don't know how to light it, just take the light, just don't light it. The less light you have on it, on those.
I was going to say, most Creepshow monsters, they're all night scenes. I think the only one is the one I can remember is the Vine monster one that was like the middle of the day. I think that's one of the few that is like very bright middle of the day outside.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. With the mother who was buried in the backyard.
Yeah. Now, Rob, obviously these are based off comic books. Did they want you to look at the comic book to get reference for the kind of vibe they're going for? Did they, because I know the carnival is very popular motif setting in Tales from the Crypt. Was there a specific carnival they said we kind of want you to emulate this or this movie or that?
No, not really. I mean, to be honest, I very rarely, other than talking with the director about visual style and sort of getting reference points, it's very rare for anyone. I can't think of many times at all that I've had producers come to me and say, "This is what we want." But I went and looked at all this stuff, obviously for reference as much as I could. But
did they send you all the comic books?
No.
Kristen, do you know if they didn't send? Did they care about the comic books too much?
Or? Yeah. Oh no. So seasons 1 and 2 are very different from seasons 3 through 7 with regards to storytelling, because seasons 1 and 2 very much were told to emulate the comic as much as they could within reason. So the screenwriters especially stuck to the storytelling. They would maybe modernize some stuff, but they were very much like, you need to keep the central tenets and the beats of the narrative. That all went out the window once Gil and Alan came in, they only had to use the title. But Joel Silver and them really prided themselves, especially with like in All Through the House, where the ending panel is the ending image. So they were very much the comics were the guide for those first two seasons, at least.
Yeah. The caveat to that is that when they called me in to do the wraparounds, they were getting a little bit tired of the comic book look, because the original episodes they sort of emulated the look of the comic books with the bright, vibrant primary colors and everything. And Dick and Bob Zemeckis didn't want that anymore. They wanted to go more cinematic. And so when I came in to do the wraparounds, they said, we want this to have a much more cinematic feel. We don't want it to feel like a comic book anymore. And
which is why seasons 1 and 2 both look fantastic, but were way too expensive and ended up causing a lot of turmoil down the line, because that cinematic quality ended up being really cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, when we're talking about adaptation, I kind of like Jack Shoulder for Fitting Punishment. The story is essentially the same, but he took the setting from this like old stuffy England or whatever, New England Gothic vibe, and put it in an urban setting with entirely African American cast, and put it in that setting. So at least he's like taking the spirit of the story and kind of updating it and putting it in more interesting places. As we're kind of wrapping this one up, one of my favorite things is in the comic book, there's a reference to a judge. They go to visit a judge that I guess Enoch and Myrna went to get married. But it turns out the judge, or whoever it was a priest, was blind, so he couldn't see that there were monsters.
I do want to throw out, I know that Jeff has talked about, because I'm a wheelchair user, I'm disabled, and he had talked about emulating Quasimodo for his performance. And I will say, this is actually one of the most weirdly progressive disabled narratives, because we don't get to see disabled people have sex and bear children in modern day non-horror cinema. And yet we did here. So, I will give credit to Fred Decker, the screenwriter, for giving me that. So, we're very progressive for early 90s.
Yeah, I think, again, that HBO is always, letting people do those kind of things.
I was going to say, for Kristen, for maybe you do know this too, Jason, but Kristen, so how many episodes didn't have nudity in terms of Tales from the Crypt? Was that like the standard for? Because I'm realizing this episode is one of the
compared to like Game of Thrones, there actually isn't a ton.
Compared to Game of Thrones, no, but
I was gonna say, because season 1, almost every episode there's a topless woman, right?
No, so season 1 has very little nudity. You'll maybe see, like, I think in the back of Man Who Is Death, they're in a strip club, I think, and you get some you usually got background actresses for the first 2 seasons at least. The nudity was not really a thing, and it really depends on who you talk to. But season 3 through 7 very much was an uptick in nudity. Some people were very not comfortable with it, and felt that it fundamentally had changed the show. But from seasons 3 through 7, the mandate from whomever, I've had fingers pointed at.
I was going to say, was there a mandate?
Was that somebody, usually the lead actress, especially, had to be nude. Yeah.
I'm on Tales from the Crypt. Oh no, I'm on Tales from the Crypt.
I mean, I've talked to a lot of the women like who did casting, and they've all pretty much said that it was very, very, nothing skeezy as far as they knew. The women were told well in advance. There was a lot of discussion. I mean, there are episodes, yes, where where according to who you talk to, nudity was pre-negotiated, and then the woman would back out, and then that turned into a big thing. There's a couple episodes where that happened. It's a complex part of the series' legacy, and I I mean, it was something I really had to deal with when writing the book, because people did feel a way about it in 1991, and then they felt very differently about it in 2026.
I was gonna say, because like, and I guess if it's the mandate, it makes it less like one of those things. Like if every episode has someone topless and you get, you go audition for it, you kind of know in advance.
Right.
So I feel like,
and most of the producers, the men producers will tell you, like, that was the expectation going in. Like, these women were not surprised. Some women will tell you that, it definitely was something where they had to negotiate, like, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? How does that work out? But it definitely was something where from season 3 onward, that was very much a push compared to seasons 1 and 2, where it was not a push. Seasons 1 and 2, it was more like sex. You can have sex, but we don't necessarily need there to be nudity.
Real quick though, one of my favorites is that the Emma Thompson episode from season 1. There's a sex scene directed by her husband.
Yep,
at the time.
Howie Deutsch, love it. And I think she said the actor playing her boyfriend was her best friend's husband or something. Like,
really?
It felt like my brother. Like, it felt very scuzzy. But it's something that, I mean, is very much a part of the series, and I've heard different things from different people about how it boosted the ratings temporarily, and then after a certain point, it didn't really. You could show as much boobs as you wanted, and it wasn't going to help save anything. But you notice it very starkly after season 2.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I was gonna say. I mean, like I said, I watched this when I was like a older child to young preteen, so like. I remember every episode in the back of my head going, "Oh, boobs! This Tales from the Crypt is on. Boobs and gore," and
you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised to hear how many stories about male nudity I've heard that were not included on the show because they were like, "Boobs are fine. Penis, we cannot do that. That is not happening." And
that's a bit scary, having one of those wiggling around all over the place.
I forget who I asked, if it was Gil Adler, if it was Alan. I don't know. I said, don't you think that sounds like a double standard? And they're like, yeah, that was the time.
Double standard.
I was like, how many dicks did you capture on camera? And they're like, it was more than one. So, that was
butts, at least some, booty is good on both sides,
I think is it James Remar we get a really good look at?
So I can tell you the 2 stories I got told about people who had accidental nudity in dailies. These were not ever going to go in the episode, but they were captured in dailies. Hold on. It was.
Let's tease that for 1 second. Let's start our next episode of Television Terror. Everyone ready? Give me a yay if you
loading.
Yep.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, and 1. And it's loading. Television Terror, episode 16.
So do we do the credits or skip?
We'll do the credits just to give you some time to tell us.
How can you skip the credits though? It's Game of Thrones. You don't skip the credits in Game of Thrones.
With you guys.
I guess how many credits have you? How many times have you seen the intro?
Oh my god!
Way too many. Because
So is this a prop house? Like, was it like a miniature or?
Yeah, so it's actually a miniature. They're using like a really small camera, and they're going through like a big fake thing. Now this is real. This is a real set.
And did they ever keep the set, or once they filmed this intro, it was like, all right, we'll never use it ever again?
The miniature went to the head of Boss Films, whose name I know every day of the week except today. But he kept it for a long time in his attic. Nobody wanted it.
Okay, hold on real quick. The stairwell scene is all CG. This blew my mind.
Yes.
Is it really?
Yeah, early CG. But it's all shadow and stuff. So, and then when we go through the door, we're in the Crypt Keeper set.
Yeah.
I would love to do, Kristen, someday like a making of documentary of just about the opening title sequence.
Yeah. Dick Edlund. Dick Edlund is who was the one who got the house, and he kept it for a very long time in storage. And he said it became, quote, the Spider Hotel. And he did eventually sell it at auction, which bummed me out to hear. But I hope whoever has it, holy grail item for for us. So
yeah, that thing's worth a fortune,
right?
Yeah, I don't know how much it went for, or he didn't remember when he sold it, but yeah,
must not have been a lot if you didn't remember.
I mean, Dick Edlund. I mean, he's got enough going with all of the things he ended up doing in life. So I think it was fine.
Yeah.
If that's just a footnote in your life, then God bless you.
Exactly,
Yeah, how
right?
exciting is your life? So
Chris, we need
Richard
your real
Richard
media.
Edlund's got a pretty long resume. I don't think
Right?
Tales from the Crypt was.
Yeah, he just
fair.
worked. The
That's
man
fair.
who
That's
worked on
true.
Star Wars, you know,
Yeah.
which his office is incredibly cool. If anybody's ever fortunate to go to Dick Edlund's office, it's very, very snazzy, and he will just tell you stories about everything. It doesn't even have to be Tales from the Crypt. It was great.
All right, Kristen, I need a hookup here.
I was gonna say I'll show up there tomorrow, but will he let me in?
It's Mother's Day. Fine, my wife can.
Oh
hang
yeah,
out.
not Mother's Day. Not Mother's Day. So another thing, how tall is the Crypt Keeper? Because I was watching season 1 and I was like, his proportions are really weird. His body is
'cause
very tiny.
The hands are like gloves with like
The hands are real person's hands.
Yeah.
You know, but the Crypt Keeper himself is only about, I guess he was about 3 feet tall, something like that. Yeah, it's not very big.
All right, Kristen, I need the rest of your male daily story.
So the two people that I got told had accidental nudity in dailies. This was not filmed. There is no footage of this anywhere that exists. It was James Remar in Dead Weight. Alan tells, if you guys get Alan, he has a great story with acting. He will act out the scene of how that happened. It's hilarious. And then Yul Vasquez, when they did On a Dead Man's Chest, the Friedkin episode.
Now, Rob, you went from a very gothic story to this kind of like very modern, like faux filming episode. Was that hard to recalibrate? Was that different, or are you just like, okay, new thing?
No, not really. I mean, one of the big advantages of being a cinematographer on an anthology series is every episode you get to do something different. And so it's not a challenge. I mean, it's a challenge to come up with something different for each one, but it's not a problem at all, because as you're prepping each story, you go through with the director and work out what the visual style is going to be, and then I mean, television terror was easy. It was just it was done like a live news broadcast, essentially. And again, it was all hard light, so.
I was going to say, there's still hard lighting in this, though. And I love it. I love the hard lights, because even on this, because like you have the blown out bright, like this kind of thing. But even in this scene, there's really hard lights. And I love it because it gives this surrealism of like, it's there, but the lights just, it's so good.
Yeah, I tell you, one of the things like I said, the first narrative stuff that I ever shot was Tales from the Dark Side, the series, and there were a whole lot of rules when we shot that, and one of the rules was you could only use hard light. You couldn't use soft light at all. That was a rule for shooting it. You had to shoot at f4. You had to shoot on 100 ASA film stock. It had to be everything had to be tungsten, and everything had to be hard light, and I loved it, because that's film noir to me. It was like,
I was gonna say, and in the shows too. And yet, like, because at the same time when you're watching these, even though there's hard lights, you have the shadows and everything, but because of the staging of it, there's never hard shadows on the offsides of their face, So it's still this like. I love it.
Well, it's all key and fill. There's obviously you're keying with the hard light and filling with with a softer light. And basically, what I did on this is I keyed with a hard light with a Fresnel lens, and then I filled by bouncing off a piece of foam core. On Tales from the Dark Side, I keyed with a Fresnel lens, and I filled with a Fresnel lens as well. So
just
basically I had two hard lights, but I was just using the hard lights in different ways, so one acted like a key and one acted like a fill, and then obviously adjusting the levels so that you got the contrast ratio right. But this is all hard light with a soft bounce fill.
Now, has any of you ever watched Ghost Watch?
Sounds familiar.
I know of it, but I've yet to watch it.
Rob, have you watched that?
No, I haven't.
It was a British show on BBC. It was like a Halloween special they did that was a lot like this, where they sent a camera crew, and it's all done as if it was real, with real personalities and everything. And they go to this haunted house in England. And it was kind of an Orwellian thing where like people thought it was a real broadcast, even though there was commercials and they kept like saying, this is
that was back in the days where found footage actually is like, is this found footage? Nowadays is this AI? Which I'm surprised more people aren't jumping on that as a horror aspect, because I feel like you could easily make a show or a movie where someone does horrific things and they're like, it's AI. Shit.
Randall Johnson and I, the screenwriter, one of the co-screenwriter of this, we both joked that I think he predicted Ghost Hunters, because this is very much like early, pretty much ghost hunting reality. And he was like, you might be onto something.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of this too. I mean, horror has always been like not premeditated, but it's like it's a precursor to things that end up picking up. So it's like that sci-fi aspect of horror that I think it's really cool.
We're always trying to find the next thing that we can use, next medium we can use to scare us. It's like, here's the film footage. Here's the Unfriended or whatever, where you're like watching things on the computer screen. So we're always jumping on whatever's next to try to scare people.
Yeah, I mean, and then going on that, it's like I always have this rule where I tell people like, look, there's like two big rules of horror. First is like the 5-minute rule. You got to either get their attention with something cool or scare them in the first 5 minutes, or they don't care. And there's details to that, but that's pretty much the gist of it. And I was like, the other one is if people can't be scared of this happening to them, they won't pay attention to the show or movie. They have to believe that this could happen to them. That's like the biggest rule of horror. If you don't believe that this could happen to you, why is it scary? Even in situations where like, oh, well, Jaws, I don't live by a beach. But if you did, you could actually feel this. And I'm like, that's the crutch, crutch
it's just a shark swimming out there. But like, and that's why like most ghost stuff don't really scare me, because I just don't really believe in ghosts. So like,
we got the Ghostbusters now. So if who are you going to call? You just call the Ghostbusters. So. No, I mean, see, that's what my wife is like, super Catholic religious growing up. So for her, ghosts and exorcisms scare the crap out of her. It's one of she's like, no, that's like too much of what I believe, so I don't want to watch it, because like watching is belief. And so she won't even watch movies or shows where there's like exorcisms and stuff. Me, I don't care, but it is one of those things where I think if you believe this, like this episode, it's like, which God, the lighting on that, God damn, that's a good one.
Well,
the cameraman, I mean, right there, that was such a hard. How did you?
The interesting thing is, everyone said to me, "How are you going to light this?" And I said, "Well, how would the way you would light it for real is you would have a camera with a sun gun on top." And I said, "That's how we're going to light it. We'll just put the camera with one light on top, and that's it."
So this just regular guerrilla lighting, then, right? It's that.
Yeah, that light is what's lighting the scene. Well, except there. I mean, obviously. But basically what I do is when I'm using a single light source, I have bits of show card all over the place. And what I'll do is I'll give a few of the grips and some of the electrics a little bit of show card, about 1 foot square, and have them try to catch the light wherever they can. So as the light's panning around, you'll see little bits of light bouncing off the actor. And it's the grips and electrics with show cards catching whatever light they can to bounce back onto him. And you won't see it here because obviously he's lit with with the sun gun. But as they're walking around,
so and I love that. That's like, we're just gonna light it like we would. I mean, that's saves you that's so cool.
Yeah, and I did an episode of Creep Show where the two two cops come in and they've got one flashlight,
Mhm.
and I lit the entire scene with one flashlight, and they had to walk all the way through a house. But
But
what
like
I did is
skill
I
to do
put,
that is crazy.
yeah, I put bits of show card all over the place, and I told them, you've got to come through and you got to hit this, you got to hit that, you got to go here, you got to. So the actors were doing the lighting by making sure it was, and I numbered all the cards. So it was card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4, and as they walked around, they would hit them. The light would come up, go down, come up, go down as they walked through the house.
See, that's that's so cool. Sorry, I love that. That's so cool that the effort, because people will be like, oh, you just put a light on top, like that's it, like found footage, just put a light on top, that's it. But the effort to go into it, it's not just put a light on top and film. Like it has to look good, and there's so much behind that. Just this light use.
Ultimately, you've got to tell the story. So you could. One of the things that sort of bugs me about contemporary cinematography is that everyone's so worried about making the shot look good, but it's not about making the shot look good. It's about telling the story.
I mean, literally, as you're talking, that scene comes up where the light's like bouncing off his face and stuff, and like it's not technically a well lit scene, but we don't want it to be well lit because it's not trying to be. And I think it's really cool from a narrative to like it's when he's on camera, it's beautiful, but when it's not filming,
it can't be well lit because that's not the goal.
Yeah, that's cool. That's just so cool.
So you're filming a guy filming him. So you're like filming behind the camera guy filming him. Is he filming in that camera?
He had that was a real Betacam that he was carrying around, and he was recording, and they did use some of the footage that he recorded.
So you're recording a guy recording another guy.
Yeah.
Do you do a rundown for him, or sorry? No, go, Kristen, go.
Oh, I was gonna say. I mean, I'm assuming also the other challenge. I mean, according to Charlie Paterni, is that they filmed this on location. It's the Higgins Verbeck Hirsch Mansion in LA, which was something else they also didn't do after season 3 was film on location. The majority of seasons 1 and 2 were filmed in offset locations, and that became also very cost prohibitive. But I'm assuming that, Charlie said that the majority of what is filmed was filmed in that house. Like it had a basement, and you could go in and use pretty much all of it.
Yeah, we did even the a lot of the stuff in the van. We shot on. We had the van on location, and we shot it on location. But yeah, everything in that house is shot in that house, and there are a few set pieces that we brought in, like that stone wall. I think we brought that in, and we just sort of set that up and shot from behind it and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that was that was actually, I think, the only episode I shot on location was this one, and it was all on location.
Yeah, there's some great on location episodes in seasons 1 and 2. I mean, season 2 ends with probably the most ambitious location they ever utilized, which is Greystone Manor here in Los Angeles. Which it's unfortunate that it had to be the last episode of the season. It also was the one that pretty much damned everybody that worked on seasons 1 and 2 because it was really expensive to shoot there. But that's something else you'll notice with set design in the later seasons is that they weren't filming anything on location.
Actually, that's not true. I did shoot, and there was another one I shot on location, which was with what was that one? The guy in the desert.
Yeah, they were at the Vasquez Rocks. Yeah,
at Vasquez Rocks. Yeah. With Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrion Death. That's the one.
Carrion Death. Yeah,
that's right. My brain is working right now. Yay.
Yeah. We shot all of that was out in the Mojave Desert and at Vasquez Rocks. Yeah.
I mean, does anybody else know? I mean, Matt and Jason. I mean, we're millennials, right? We're all millennials. Yeah.
I'm a elder Gen Xer. I like to call myself.
Okay, so but I mean, we all know who Morton Downey Jr. is. Like, I think that's the one thing about this episode that like anybody under 35 probably has no concept of the fact that they stunt casted Morton Downey Jr. playing a guy
I
named
wasn't very
Horton.
familiar, to be honest. I don't know if I just missed
Yeah,
it.
I mean, well,
Morton Downey Jr. loved doing this.
Yeah.
He couldn't wait. Every day we would turn up and he's go, oh man, this is the most awesome thing I've ever done.
Randall felt very sad. He did not Morton didn't realize that we were kind of like taking the piss out of him. Like we were mocking the persona. He's all, the guy's name is Horton. Like, you don't think that we borrowed a little bit from your persona?
I think he just takes it as a compliment.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be an insult and a compliment, you know. Backhanded, you know, it's like we're making fun of you, but hey, you're famous enough and good enough to be made fun of. So
if you're worth being parodied, then that means you've done something.
Yeah, I think it was the combination of trying to use his persona, and then I think they were saying that around this time, Geraldo and the Jimmy Hoffa vault was also kind of a big deal, and so they borrowed from that too. Just very weird, like touchstones that nobody under a certain age is really gonna understand at this point.
Yeah, Morton, he didn't care. He was just having an absolute blast on this thing, and when we threw him out the window. Well, we didn't actually throw him out the window, but when he was hanging out the window, he thought that was great too.
Yeah, this is often quoted as one of the scariest episodes.
I hear that. I always hear that, and I always say, "Really?" I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's one I love, but it's far from like if I did a top 10 for the book. It's not going to make the book because I need to cut down on words. But I don't think I placed this in my top 10, if memory serves.
Well,
I haven't looked.
I said for scariest.
Right. But I mean, like overall.
I mean, I think the new arrival, I've said many times, is the one that scared the crap out of me when I was younger.
That's a good one.
Kristen, what do you think is the scariest episode?
Scariest episode? Oh God!
Like either now or when you originally watched it.
I mean, I think "And All Through the House" is still kind of an all-timer. I think for me. So that would definitely be number one. Maybe because I'm also not big on because again, as a disabled person who's been had surgery and stuff, I mean, I always talk Forever Ambergris. I mean, Forever Ambergris is my favorite episode of the series. But I think it also might be the scariest one for me just because Ebola and stuff like that, very frightening nowadays.
Yeah. Matt, what's your vote for scariest?
God, I mean, I'm gonna go with the Santa Claus one. I have to rewatch all of them. That's why I'm happy that Shudder is gonna have all episodes of Tales from the Crypt. But no, yeah, I mean, it's just rewatching them again and stuff so far. Yeah, like that Santa Claus episode scares the shit out of me. Like straight up, it's just terrifying. It's as a parent, when I was a kid, it's a silly premise, you know, like. But at the same time, it's like home invasions are terrifying, especially like if you've been near that, which I've had 2 instances near that. So it's like, for me, it's like, as a kid that messed me up, and then as an adult, I'm like, no, that's still terrifying. That's still like if someone's dressed up as Santa Claus and you know they knock on the door, is your kid smart enough to be like, I shouldn't let Santa Claus in? You know, I don't even say smart enough. I mean, most kids probably be like, oh, Santa, yeah, get in here.
Don't ask me which one's the scariest because I can't look at them without thinking, bloody hell, that was a nightmare the day we shot that.
Rob, what's in your opinion the movie that scared you the most? Any movie?
The movie that scared me, a film back in the 1980s, or it might have been, about the early 1980s, called Sisters.
Oh, Brian De Palma.
Was that Brian De Palma?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, and the opening scene is it's a girl's birthday and her sister comes in with a knife to cut the cake, and there's a stabbing scene right at the opening of the film. I mean, I saw that, geez, 46 years ago, and I still have nightmares about that bloody scene. And
it's Brian De Palma.
Yeah, even though I know how it was shot and everything else, it's like bloody hell. It was the scariest thing I've ever seen.
This looks interesting. So it's 72. Wow, this trailer looks fun.
72 was it? Yeah. I tell you, it's a pretty frightening film.
God, look at his disgusting little feet. So those are, I'm assuming those are puppets too. Like I get the hands are the hands, but I'm assuming the feet are just straight up, just rigging of a puppetry.
Which feet?
His feet, the Crypt Keeper's feet. Are they?
So the Crypt Keeper had feet. The Crypt Keeper
he had feet,
full body. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm saying like when his feet are on screen, is that someone's actual foot in like a?
Those are
like
those are puppet feet. Yeah.
I thought you meant Morton's feet.
No. Oh, sorry. So the episode, which what an iconic shot too at the end.
Yeah.
I love it too because like Tales from the Crypt always like leaves everything open ended, which was like a big staple of the '90s, especially in like Japanese horror, where like there's the question of why does this happen to the people? Because it just does. And I think that like that's such a beautiful aspect of horror because nowadays everything has to be explained, everything has to be picked apart. And it's like there's the Tales from the Crypt are always like, why did this happen to this person? What happens next? What's going to happen with the studio? Is this and this? Well, he's got a chainsaw cut through him. How are they going to? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and that's very true to the comic because so the comics would always they're only like 10 to 15 pages at the most, and they'd always like be build up, and you have like one splash page at the end of like the climax, and then boom, you're done. So like in a lot of them, you don't even see the monster or whatever the big thing is until like the last page. So like in Ventriloquist Dummy, in the comic, you don't see the hand until the very last like panel.
God, that one you just brought back some terrifying memories. That one messed me up as a god damn. That one, that scene. Yeah, that one got me.
That was a good one.
That
was so gross. His hands.
But I tell you the thing that it's not Tales from the Crypt, it's Tales from the Dark Side. The episode of Tales from the Dark Side that scares the living daylights out of everyone I've ever talked to is the one about Lizzie. It is the little puppet that lived in the closet with friend Fritz Weaver, and Tom Savini built Lizzie.
Of course, it's Tom. Of course, it'd have to be Savini, man.
And the funny thing was, my kids were scared shitless over that thing, and we moved to Maine, and both my boys had a room with a little door in it, a door in the in the wall where it was exactly like Lizzie's little door, and so we had to nail them shut so that if there was anyone in there, they couldn't get out.
That's a very kid thing.
See, kids nowadays, my kids, they're not scared of anything. They like my 9-year-old and 2-year-old watch and play horror video games where there's like scary monsters and jump scares. There's no blood and guts, but it's like scary monsters, like stuff that even like gets me jump scared, you know? And like I put on Night of the Living Dead the other day. My 2-year-old was like, no, it's just scary. I'm like, this is scary. You watch, you think it's funny to have like monsters jump out with like rows of bloody teeth and stuff, and that's fine. No nightmares. But Night of the Living Dead, that zombie creeped you out too much. Like,
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, because those things are like hyper scary, like trying to be like hyper scary. Where like Night of the Living Dead is like just people with like ghoul makeup and.
That's the thing. My oldest, who's turning 9, he was the one that was like watching this. He's like, oh, so it's a zombie in makeup. And then like the first zombie came on, he's like, where's the makeup? It's just a guy. And I'm like, welcome. that's Night of the Living Dead, dude.
Well, now you just show him Day of the Dead.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I want to watch Dawn of the Dead, the Zack Snyder one, which I think James Gunn wrote and Zack Snyder directed, which to me still is like top 3 best zombie movies. I think that one still to this day holds it through the test of time. And like I want to show him that one, but that one like scares my wife to this day. She's like, I'm not gonna watch that. That's too scary.
Yeah, I watched it like a month ago, and it still holds up really well.
It does, dude. There's so many good zombies. Like that's what I love about The Walking Dead, that it brought in this new, because I literally have every comic book from The Walking Dead. I'm a diehard, like when Greg Nicotero was at Midsummer Scream. We were there for him. We watched his thing. I even acted as like a human shield for him because he's like, there was a crowd of people, and he's like, I need to get through that. And I'm like, I got you, Greg. And I just like walked between everyone, and he's like, thank you. And he took a picture with my wife as a thank you for that. But it's like, I love what he did as like reinventing zombies, because now we got Train to Busan. We got so much good stuff, so much good zombie movies.
Well, you know where all the zombies came from originally, right?
The original zombie of like Caribbean zombies and like witch doctors, or
No, the original zombie movies came from George Romero and all the guys in Pittsburgh, and that's where Greg started. He started there with Tom Savini and John Harrison and Pascal Buber and all those guys. You know, they were all part of their Pittsburgh mafia.
And I was gonna say, and too, the main black actor in the movie, he was like a commercial actor, right?
Yeah,
like he had never actually like done any movie acting or anything.
Well, I think a lot of the people who, and I mean, I don't know this for 100% sure, but I think that a lot of the people were just friends and relatives who played.
I was going to say, right? I don't think, because he was just doing commercials, right? And then he was like, let's make what, I didn't even think he ever called it a zombie movie. I think it was The Undead.
Yeah, whatever it was. But when George Romero did the first one, no one thought it would go anywhere. Now look at Night of the Living. What's the damn?
I mean, the Walking Dead. This Train to Busan, and now there's. Yeah, I mean, then The Walking Dead. So
The Walking Dead Paris, The Walking Dead Spain, Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, there's like 4 spinoffs, and the other thing is too is like it's like a guilty pleasure. I watch them all. It's like what's that? The Z. It's just like it's like a crappy Walking Dead spinoff. And it's like it says like Z Nation. I think there you go, Z Nation, where it's like it's The Walking Dead but with no budget, and I love it. I'd love it so much because it's not good. There's this alien spaceship in one episode. I'm like, that's if the filmmaker knows the audience, everything's gonna work out great.
Well, I tell you, the original one had no budget. The original one that George Romero did, I think the budget was about $3.
I was gonna say, yeah, I know the zombies are all just like people that were in the neighborhood, and I've been told that by multiple producers and directors that they like filming like the Midwest and stuff. When they're like, hey, we need a lot of extras, the townsfolk will do everything for them. The city will just show out for them. Whatever you want, don't worry about permits. Like whatever you need, we are there. They're happy. They'll work all day. And I've heard that about so many like Midwestern towns that like, you come film here, we are happy to do. You want us to get naked and go and throw ground beef on us? We'll do it. Don't worry about it.
All right. Well, I think that wraps everything up tonight. Let's just do a quick round and everyone can shout out their socials or wherever they want to plug. Matt, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah. So once again, I'm the Storytime Guy on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm going to start streaming soon on Twitch. And yeah, I love talking about horror stuff. I know a lot of random information about a lot of random things. Big on American folklore, horror, and everything. So yeah, if you have questions, you love learning about that kind of stuff, follow me.
All right, Kristen.
Yeah, I'm on all social media at Kristen K. Lopez. You can find me on Instagram at Kristen Lopez 88. I have books out. My latest one is But Have You Read the Book? Romance Edition that comes out in July. I write about film and do movie reviews, and will be writing more about Tales from the Crypt over at thefilmmaven.com. And my book, Welcome Boils and Ghouls, The Complete Oral History of Tales from the Crypt, the first and in existence only oral history of Tales from the Crypt, is going to be out in August of 2027.
All right. And Rob, anything you want to promote or shout out?
Yeah, well, I'm Rob Draper. I'm on all social media. And if you happen to be into whiskey, I also run a channel called Single Malt TV, which is a global channel with 37,000 subscribers. And if you're looking for books, here's my Hair in the Gate, which is a bit of a play on having a hair in the gate and the old film cameras. This is some funny stories from my years as a cinematographer, or Illuminating Cinema, which is my book on film lighting. So there you go.
All right. Thank you all. Again, my name is Jason, most of Dads from the Crypt. If you enjoyed tonight's live stream, please like and follow us on YouTube. You're also, we do this as an audio as well on Spotify. We've actually already reviewed every episode of Tales from the Crypt over the years. Not all of them are on YouTube, but if you go to Spotify or Apple Podcast, whatever podcast, they're all on there. And we've done many more reviews of movies and other things. We've done a bunch of Creep Show. And we've done what's the other thing? The Mick Garris one. Masters of Horror. We've been working through those as well. So yeah, and don't forget to follow us at Dads from the Crypt Talk on TikTok. And with that, I thank you for all for listening to Dads from the Crypt. Have a good night.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.